All right, it's Big Bink from Big Bink's Break Room Podcast.
Yep.
One of my partners, he hit me up earlier this week and said he was coming to town, and this dude has been in front of that camera, I mean, going in for years. Like, you might know him from Straight Outta Compton. I would say that was like one of the high points of his young career.
Yeah.
But he's been doing it way before then. He's representing from that New Orleans.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah.
504.
My partner, we reunited. He's on Big Bink's Break Room Podcast. It's Jason Mitchell, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Family.
Oh, yes, sir, yeah. Thank you for having me.
What up,
Thank
boy?
you for having me. I'm cool, man. How
Good
you
to
feel?
see you again, man.
Man, it's good to see you. It's good to see all of y'all, man. How y'all feel?
Good.
We
We want to
have
get a
you
food
here.
truck. We want to get a food truck. It's called Big Bink's Break Room Food Truck.
I know that's right. I'm actually thinking about starting one for real, doing like a
Really?
pop-up restaurant, called
Do you-
Gumbo and Grilled Cheese.
Do you feel that like ever since that appearance on the shot that you started the black-owned food truck wave?
You know, I think I just gave them a voice. You know what I mean? Because I'm a big foodie, and everywhere I go, I like embrace these food trucks because they really be putting their work in. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they put love into the food still. So I think, behind it all, I just gave a lot of people a voice and gave them a second win. You know what I mean? Because COVID tore a lot of that up for people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think I just gave them that second win. You know?
And I want to say something real quick because you said appearance on the show. I want to make sure that we know that he was the inaugural season of the Shy.
Yeah.
When it started out with the shorty on the bike.
Yeah,
rolling through,
yeah,
'cause I'm
yeah.
from the Shy. So
Okay.
everything y'all did, I was just like, man, this is what's up.
It was
That's
accurate.
what's up.
It was accurate,
That's what's
but
up.
the storylines,
Yeah.
about him and his character working at the restaurant.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Him and the discrepancies with him and his girl at the time living together, trying to figure it out, being fired,
Right.
sitting on the couch. All of these parallel actions that happens growing up.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
so I ask you, man, and you kind of hit it off with the whole foodie thing, but having the food truck and all that, and you said you're a foodie anyway. But what did you learn, man, about being on the Shy that helped propel you in your acting career?
The Shy was interesting, right? Because I try to give it 110% every time, but it's also a representation of a real culture and real people and real things.
Yeah.
So I really had to like the Easter before we started shooting, I was in somebody's backyard eating with a random family, like just trying to connect with the city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I learned so much about Chicago and like how there's such a pillar of what we know as free and successful black people today. You know what I mean? So it was like some serious shoes to fill. You know what I'm saying? And it was a lot to absorb. But I think ultimately, just being on that show taught me so much about being a leader. It was my first time being on like number one on the call sheet and having to lead and steer the train.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For
It
people
was-
who
it was
don't know,
interesting.
Jay,
Yeah.
for people who don't know, explain what that number one on the call sheet means.
So number one on the call sheet makes you the department head for the actors. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's a job at the end of the day. People got to be able to come to you. I had so many younger actors that I had to have my door open for. I had to put together cast dinners and just all of this stuff that I had never experienced before. I was just so used to going to work, going to my trailer, going to set, doing my joint, and then going home. And
Yeah.
it's not like that at all when you running a show. You know what I mean? So I had to, stand up and be a man. And although I did go through some things, there was a lot that I learned and a lot that I could take with me home. You know what I mean? Not just to work, but I could take those lessons home. So it was a beautiful experience, man. With the good, the bad, I wouldn't change any of it.
And so you look at Lil Kev, who grown now, Big
Yeah.
Papa, who grown now.
Yeah.
All these people on the Shy. You sit back and look at it. How does that make you feel? Because you was a big part of their acting career, bro.
Right. It makes me feel good because they call me and tell me, like, you the realest. You gave me not only the opportunity, right? Because I fought for a lot in the Shy, to be honest. You know what I mean? Because the studios, they always try to fight us on what they think black culture looks and feels like and all of that. And it's a lot that we got to fight for.
Yeah.
So they always call me and they be like, man, we just really appreciate you because I put so much effort into it that it really helped their careers just take off to another place. So now I see them and they all grown and taller than me and shit. And I'm like, damn. I just love to see where they are. You know, I got relationships with their parents and all kind of stuff, man. Like me and Alex, we'll be brothers forever.
Yeah.
You know, I love that kid. I love them all.
That's cool, man. I grew up with Jacob's mom, Tish.
Oh yeah,
and,
that's my homegirl.
And
Tish
we
is great.
saw him. I'm sure he came through Tyler a couple of times as a young kid.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
He's rolling around with Immature and all those cats on those tours.
Right.
And for him to continue to grow, and you see where he at, you know, down the Shy, man. It's really. It's again, I take it back to you because, like you said, that number one on the call sheet is important.
Right.
You helped shape that whole journey for these guys.
Right.
Man. And I've talked to Jacob about you, and he big upped you and gave you love as well.
Yeah.
So that's and I want people to understand, you know, that to be aligned with somebody of Jason's caliber. You know, and even if you just be sitting home and you saw Straight Outta Compton and you saw some of the movies that he's been in, it's a journey. Yeah. It's a journey of characters and being able to switch. Have you ever stayed in character when you were finished? Like just stayed in character, like, man, you know what? Oh, I forgot. Okay, yeah.
You know what? I ain't gonna lie. Like, I have to do a cleanse every time I finish a role. Like, I gotta give myself time to just decompress. And it don't even feel like vacation. It just feel like me getting back to myself. Because I step into it so hard that, like, by the time I get on set, I could take direction as that person. You know what I mean? But, like, it could get strange sometimes. Like, I never forget one time I ran in a bank, me and O'Shea, while we were shooting Straight Outta Compton, we just ran to the bank right quick, not thinking that we both in full costume. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we walk in there, I'm talking about wig, everything, and people looking at us like, either we about to get robbed or we all done died and went to heaven. You know what I mean? Because we in Bank of America in L.A. Everybody's just looking at us like, what is happening right now? Like, yeah, it's trippy, man. But like you have to give yourself time to decompress. Otherwise, you got all this extra on you and you don't realize why you're responding to things the way that you are. And you're like, damn, that ain't even me. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not always bad things. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, like, cause I always have loved to cook, right? But like after this whole process with Brandon, you know, now I'm cooking for the cast. I'm cooking for a bunch of people at the crib. Now that's just one of my things. Everybody just come over and eat now. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, some of the stuff is good to take with you, but some stuff, man, you can end up like Heath Ledger. You know, it's a fine line. Yep. It's a fine line.
So what does decompression look like?
Me, I try to find the most calm body of water that I could find. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And just as much quiet as I could find. And me, I'm a movie lover, so sometimes I go back to that and I let myself be like a kid. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Because to me, this is where all of that originated from. Like, God gave me this gift as a young child. You know what I mean? Even though I didn't embrace it till I was in my 20s, I never knew that that acting was even a possibility. You know what I mean? But I also remember, like, before I could write cursive, I thought it was the coolest shit in the world, right? Mm-hmm. So I fake wrote cursive before I could even write on this paper, and I just read it in front of my whole family. And then I turned it over where there was nothing and kept reading, you know what I mean? And that's just, you know, these stories. So obviously God gave me this gift a long time ago, but I feel like it's something that that has an innocence about it, that if I tap back into that childhood piece of us that has the imagination and the built-in love and all of that, like I could just tap back into myself very easily. You know what I mean? So I try to give myself a chance to do that. So I just listen to myself. Like it might be like for instance, after I did Kong, I went to Disneyland for the first time by myself. You know what I mean? I didn't even take my kids or nothing. It was like just because I felt like I needed to do something for me that I always wanted to do. You know what I mean? My mama never had the money or nothing like that. And I was like, I'm 40 minutes from Disneyland. I'm about to go. You know what I mean? They could have told me that all the rides was kiddie rides. Somebody should have informed me of that. But you know what I mean?
Well, now, what did you do at Disneyland by yourself?
Nothing, really. You
Walk
know what
around.
I mean?
I mean, it
watch
does
the
kind of look weird with a
parades.
grown ass man sitting in some teacups by himself.
You know what? And I didn't think it through, right? Because they had a bunch of balloons, and I bought all the balloons. And I'm like handing them out to people, but I'm like walking up to their kid first, being like, "Would you like a balloon?" And people are like,
Sir,
I'm so sorry. Look, listen, it's fine. Right?
Stranger danger.
Exactly. I definitely didn't think it through. Yeah, but it was a good time, man.
You were just getting ready for this movie that you in now, because that's
right.
kind of how this movie. Well, it don't start with balloons, but
I think it's the new movie Black Heat.
Yeah.
Fascinating concept and a fascinating story behind that.
Yeah.
Tell the folks about the premise of the movie, because I think this is a fascinating new concept.
Yeah, so Black Heat, it's me, NLE, and Dream Doll are the big three on that, and we also have a super amazing cast around us. Wes Miller directed it, but it follows two parents, me and Dream, whose daughter is being sex trafficked. And it's so interesting, right? Because you watch movies like Taken, which is an awesome movie.
Yeah.
But it has some extremities, right? Like his daughter is going on this trip, and her and her friends get kidnapped. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to believe that could ever happen to you. And you definitely don't have a very unique set of skills to then go save your child, right? But in Black Heat, this is happening around the corner from our house. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we don't have any unique set of skills. We just are two parents who are like, you know what, we're going to get our baby back. Yeah. And it's dope. I'm not gonna lie. It's dope. And like, I think all guys, we have this thing inside of us where we want to do the action movies. We want to, shoot the big guns and, do the stunts and all of that. But like, it's never like it may seem. Because if you get hurt, even if you get scratched across your face, like, it changes what we call continuity in the movie. Because they like, well, he didn't have that scratch on his face a minute ago. Like, where you got this big ass scratch? So then you got to go back and CGI a scratch on your face. You know what I mean? So they don't like us to do stuff like that. But Wes was like, I believe in you. I've been watching you train. Like, I think you can handle it. So I'm like, for real? You really gonna let me do all my stunts? So I did all of my stunts in the movie. NLE did all of his stunts. Like, we was all beat up and scraped up by the end of the movie, but it was dope. It was just something that I feel like I've been working so hard to get to. You know what I mean? To be able to do the action films, and it's also still this very grounded concept that like is this sort of taboo dialogue for us to have. You know what I mean? Because everybody thinks like, that ain't gonna happen to me. Like, I'm a great parent. Like, but it really don't have nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? Like, think about the single moms, which our communities are full of, who are working 2 jobs. You know what I mean? Or who putting in 12-hour shifts. Like, what's going on with your kid? Why you not doing that? You know what I mean? You think that you have a great rapport and relationship with them, but the whole time your child could be feeling like, mommy wasn't there for me. You know what I mean? Because all they know is their kid life. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting concept, but I got to give hats off to Wes for that, man. Wes, he wrote and directed this film, and it's dope.
Let's take a look at the trailer, man, because we was looking at the trailer the other day. Let's take a look at it right now.
You think she's going to be excited to see us?
I hope so, but them teenagers be a little feisty sometimes, so you never know.
Hey, sit your ass up. You ain't never going to get out of here alive. We got people everywhere. You dead already. They got a man here, and I think he's running girls, and I think he has my daughter. And there's 220 doors. She gotta be behind one of these. Do you know Tiana?
All that trouble? Somebody's looking for her.
We gotta get you out of here, young blood.
My way is making sure all don't get put in the dirt.
King has my heart and he's taking care of it. He was conditioning you, child.
I'm a king. I'm a god. One of my sheeps went astray. I think you know what she is.
Her name is Tiana, and she don't belong to you. Something happens to a man when a baby comes into this world. You the protector, and you supposed to protect them at all costs. So I take my last breath, and you violated my baby girl.
My crown, my house, my world, man.
What I liked about the movie when I saw the trailer was that the black mom and the black dad were together looking for the black kid.
Absolutely.
I love
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
Because usually it's just one of them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's a good point.
It ain't no
point.
family unit. They ain't working together. And I was like, I don't know if they married in the movie or if this is just the baby mama and the baby, but whatever, they together.
Yeah,
and
we
they
was
like,
married.
We getting it.
We was married. And I love that too, because I think because of the way it's set up, especially in this country, you know what I mean? They basically put this entire attack on us. Like, if we take the black man out of the household, make the black woman stop respecting him and go to the state for the support, we done won already. And the truth is, they did. Yeah. But we can't keep riding on that and make it seem like that's everybody's life. That's actually not the majority of people's lives. Right. You know what I mean? It's just, in the hood, we get this bad experience. But so many people rise from the hood that you hear that story so much that we need to just start showing people something else. So,
and I liked it too. The parents was from the hood. They weren't off Wall Street working corporate jobs. They looked like...
It wasn't the Huxtables.
Right.
Well,
right.
Exactly. I like the Huxtables, but it's Tyrone and them.
Yeah. Right.
Tyrone
Exactly. We had one of our producers, Andrew Vandenhouten. Like, I love that guy. We've definitely grown a rapport over the years. We've done a few movies together. But I remember Dream and I were like rehearsing one day, right? So he walks up to us and we both give him this look, and he was like, I'm so sorry. He was like, I would really hate to run into you guys by myself. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, I'm glad that we could give that feel, you know what I mean? And make it feel real, because it's not safe playing with people's kids at all. You know what I mean? Like something different comes out of you, especially when you got daughters.
Amen.
One thing I know, like I said, you from New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans.
Yeah.
How are you able to get that accent off of you when you're doing these roles? Because you've been to LA, you've been to Chicago. I done seen you did all these. You did Superfly. You was in that one. That's Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like, how are you able to do that linguistic twist? Are you able to?
Ooh, linguistic twist. That's pretty good.
Right. We need to put that on the shirt.
Grambling State University education. How are you able to make that flip though? How are you able to move between those roles?
Honestly, bro, it's just part of the gift, isn't it? I'm working on it every single day. I'm working on it because they're coming and taking all of our jobs. So the plan now is to go across the pond and do an English film, and they think man's a real roadman and that. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna tell them allow it. You get me? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but I think it's just one of those things that I always play with. When I was a kid, I used to think it was super funny that like the gangsters that we would see on TV, like Menace and all of that, like they were so proper with their words. Like, what you got on my 40, homie? I was like, they pronounce everything, but was still super gangster. You know what I mean? And I didn't even know that it was something that would help me later on in life. I just thought it was funny the other way people talk, and I would just mock them. And it turned into muscle memory, and now it's something that like I'm developing into a real skill.
So do a Texas accent.
What kind of Texas accent?
Texas.
Would you like the white guy that pulls you over and they say, "Hey, let me explain something to you, hoss."
No, give me hoss. All right, Oak Cliff accent. Oak Cliff, Texas.
Oak Cliff, the Dallas. Shit, bro. The Dallas.
Now, so how we doing the 504 when you're down there, when you're back home?
It's funny because every time I bring somebody to New Orleans with me, I feel like y'all start singing when y'all talk to each other and y'all just, I'm just here. People just be nodding. I'm like, that was a question. They're like, wait, I didn't understand what you were saying. Nah, but yeah, I forever love New Orleans. But it's like, it feel good to be able to like release when I get there because I didn't realize that nobody knew what I was saying until we was getting ready for the press for Straight Outta Compton, and he was like, this is gonna be the biggest movie of your life and all of that, and just walking me down this hallway, and I'm like, good. So then they bring me in this room and they sit me down and they're like, listen, we think you need a speech coach. I was like, what? They was like, yeah, in so many ways, they was trying to tell me that they didn't need me to talk like myself. I was like, y'all could have just said that. I can talk like anybody. If you want me to, does this help if I talk like this? And they were like, really? You can do that? I was like, yeah, I was just in the movie talking like I was from LA. You know what I mean? But like conceptually, they couldn't grab it. They was like, oh, we thought you was Eazy-E's son and you just talk weird. I was like, no, I'm from New Orleans. This is how we talk. We still working on English. Yeah.
I know you said you wanted to start you was interested in starting a food truck. You said that.
Yeah.
Tell the folks about, what's the concept if you got it?
So I feel like you ain't experienced New Orleans for real until you had gumbo and grilled cheese. You know what I mean? No matter
what. You said gumbo and what?
Grilled cheese.
And grilled cheese?
Yep. Or gumbo and potato salad, but gumbo and grilled cheese just got a ring to it. You know what I mean? But like if you got to get the gumbo with the grilled cheese and dip the grilled cheese in it. Like see how you looking? You got to have that experience. So I would like to have like a pop-up situation where we have like a guest, I host them or whatever, and we do like a pop-up restaurant for real that has tables and all of that, and it's like a live studio audience vibe, but everybody get gumbo and grilled cheese to have that experience.
Okay.
They don't know nothing about it. You see how that foreign...
She looking like, okay. She watch when she hit that gumbo. Bang! It's going to change our life.
It be too much in there. Y'all be putting...
What you don't eat that you feel like too much?
What y'all put in there? What you put in there?
It depends. But what could possibly potentially be too much? Like the meats that they put in? What you don't eat pork?
But you know what? Nah, I eat pork. But like even soup, I'm real, like it's chicken noodle soup. That's it. I don't want vegetable soup with all of that in there. And it be stuff in there. I see them crawfish things that grow in the ground.
So she got a little kid palate. That's what it is. She wants chicken nuggets.
Well,
Give me the chicken strips.
Well, I'm fine. What's wrong with chicken nuggets?
She don't want gumbo. She wants soup. Right. I just want soup.
No,
but
man.
I
Gumbo.
do like y'all boudin balls.
Oh, if you like boudin balls, you'll definitely love gumbo then.
And I like the, what's the little thing Carly had at her party? The beignets. I like those.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The beignets
But that
definitely
gumbo, I'm
slap.
not going to do no hot water with stuff in it.
Hot water with stuff in it is crazy. Nah, you definitely got to try it. I'm telling you, it's going to change your life.
As far as acting, I have people that I watch, and been following throughout my whole career, and they span for different decades. So give me your list, right? Mm-hmm. Of that actor. I'll give you two. Two from the 80s, two from the 90s, two from 2000, and two from 2010 that made a difference or that you studied that helped you perfect your craft.
Wow.
And it could be female, male, male, male. It could be a sitcom actor, just people who push your button.
Okay, so
these last 40 years.
So I was born 86. Mm-hmm. So I think we might got to start 90s.
Yeah. I'm sure you look back at these old shows like,
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm talking about like that, but again, if you're more comfortable in the 90s, I get it.
Was that in the 80s?
Right.
I was born in the 70s, so
Right.
But yeah, so let's go 90s, 2000, 2010.
I mean, early on, I gotta say that Sam, like as crazy as it might be, like Sam Jackson for me, for one, just because of the, I think all actors, right, and directors, everybody, they have this preconceived notion when they read a script on how the person is gonna look and how they're gonna walk and talk and act and all of that. And when I look at Sam Jackson, I feel like he defies that. Nobody was ever expecting Sam to show up. You know what I mean? He's not the tall, dark, and handsome, this and that, all buttoned up. He's real. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He's a real ass person. And I love that about him. So Sam is my number one. right? And he's also been in the most movies out of every actor,
about
I
to say,
believe.
yeah.
Like,
Box office
yeah.
star ever.
Yeah, the other one early on is Angela Bassett.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think that other than her being like the most relatable, I think, person, she just has this grace that it's hard to find in people in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, she just has this aura that like kind of grabs you. You know what I mean? In every movie that she does, she makes you fall in love with the film just because she's in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she done everything from Tina Turner to CIA agent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's definitely cold. So, 2000s, I'm gonna have to go Will and Martin, bro. They changed my life.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, Bad Boys, Fresh Prince, Martin itself, the show was like the basis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's where it all started for me. Because I never thought that I'd ever have the opportunity to be an actor, but like, I definitely thought I was Martin and Will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
at school getting in trouble for cussing because I was saying what they were saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Eddie Murphy is a big one for me too. I know he kind of fall in that area somewhere. You know what I mean? But again, sneaking, watching Delirious, I was like, yo, this cat is different. You know what I mean? He's definitely different. Where we at now?
We at 2010 now.
2010.
2010 to present.
2010.
It's okay to see yourself.
I was gonna get to me in 2015 for sure. No, but I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yes.
Y'all know who that
What's
is?
what he playing?
He was in The Sopranos, correct?
I don't know if he was in The Sopranos.
The name sounds familiar.
He was. You know who he was? Remember Men in Black?
Yeah.
Remember the dude that was the bug in the Edgar suit?
Oh,
He was wearing the skin of the other dude, and he was like all crazy.
Yeah,
He was alien.
Oh,
the dude.
he's playing in Daredevil now on
Yes,
the Marvel series.
yes, he plays Wilson Fisk
Okay.
in Daredevil. He's so cold, bro. I think my first time seeing him was in Full Metal Jacket.
Okay.
He was the guy who kills himself. But bro, incredible actor. Like, his characters are
Oh yeah, the bug dude.
incredible.
Oh no, wait, this dude playing the Godfather of Harlem too.
He
Yeah.
cold, bro.
Oh, and
Absolutely,
Law and
Jay.
Order.
Cold.
Law and Order.
Absolutely.
Yes, Law and Order.
Man,
Water.
hold up.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna
He has
say
a nice range.
Johnny Depp as well probably could you know what I mean, around that 2000. When did Blow come out?
Yeah, I would say early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah, early
2000s,
2000s, late 90s. Yeah, he
Yeah.
kills it. Man, they got so many people I'm thinking of now because I feel like I can't leave DiCaprio out. I feel like he deserved the Oscar since What's Eating Gilbert Grape. You know what I mean? Like, for a child to be able to pull off an autistic child like that back before autism really had a definition.
That's right.
Like, oh man, so many really good ones. And then we can't forget Jason Mitchell, you know.
Yeah.
Really influential guy,
I mean,
you know.
look, I mean, listen, man. You had us, you know. Let's be honest here. Straight Outta Compton. You had us all in tears when you was, especially when you scene where portraying Eazy on his deathbed.
Yeah.
I mean, that had the hood shook. You got a Hood Academy Award for that one.
Yeah.
But
I'm
I
gonna tell you a funny story about that. Like, I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
But one more I do need to add, I think she's one of the greatest of our times, is Tessa Thompson. I cannot forget Tessa Thompson. She does the films with she was in the Creed films as a
Gotcha.
yeah. But I met Tessa because she was originally like in the running to play Tamika as my wife in Compton, you know, and we had to do the hospital scenes, you know what I mean? And I just remembered going through the audition process with her like, damn, she got that smoke, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, she was just an incredible actor. So to watch her grow, and she always be having me in tears, you know what I mean? So I'm like, damn, she did this movie called The Passing, which is like, you know, for all the people who are passe blonde, which means pass for white, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And she just like would blend in with the white people. It was a black and white film that was absolutely incredible. So Tessa Thompson is probably, you know, one of my new favorites. But F. Gary Gray, who I ironically ran into last night in LA, right? he and I just have a really good relationship, right? And I'm talking about I've never worked with a director that's so meticulous about everything. You know what I mean? And like I said, the audition piece was, I had to cry in the audition and all of this stuff. So I'm thinking that he knows what I'm capable of doing, right? So one day I'm in my trailer and he comes to me and he's like, so the Eazy week is coming up. That's what they called it because it was all the hospital scenes and it was the hardest shit we had to do. Yeah. So as a play on words, they called it the Eazy week, right? So he was like, yeah, the Eazy week's coming up and I just want to know what you're going to do. I was like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? He was like,
have you figured it out yet?
Yeah, like I want you to show me like what you're going to do. I feel like my movie's riding on this and my career's riding on this. So I want you to show me. I was like, but I thought I did that in the audition. Like, you want me to do it now? Like, I'm trying to eat lunch? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, what's happening? He was like, nah, I think you need to do it now. Long story short, we had an argument. Because I was like, I'm not doing this right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is going to change the whole trajectory of my day. Like, I'm having a great day. We're doing performance scenes. We got 4,700 extras on set. Like, I'm having a ball. You know what I mean? I don't want to cry in my trailer on my off time, you know?
Yeah.
So, he ended up getting me this acting coach, this lady, Diana. She was super, super sweet. But I also told her the same thing. I was like, this is going to ruin my day. Like, I don't understand why we have to keep doing this. So we went over the scene, and she was like, I think he has it. I think he's going to let go. And I kept telling Gary, I was like, listen, it's not getting there. It's coming back from that place. Right. You know what I mean? Because you got to realize I'm fresh out the hood at this point in time. Acting had never paid my bills before that. I was still definitely 2 feet in the street at the time. So we get to the scene. Long story short, we did that whole scene in 4 takes. And it was like silence. Like, Cube wife got up and left. She was like, I don't see how y'all can do this. I can't watch this shit. You know what I mean? And it was an incredible, monumental moment. Like, it makes me emotional right now thinking about it. Cause Gary just held me and just let the tears out. And I was like, I told you, G, I got this. I got us. You know, and it was a good moment. Man.
How does that emotional toll?
Yeah.
Like having to do this over and over and over. You got to do 4 takes of you trying to cry and force this emotion out of it.
Right.
What is the challenge in that? How challenging is that? 'Cause that's got to be hard.
It's probably the most challenging thing as an actor. Like, and just in anything that I've ever done in my life, it's the most challenging thing because it's not just you there. You know what I mean? It's you and 70 other people. You know, like, good directors that make it to where it's maybe this many people in the room, but it's still a lot of people who you know, you don't know them on a first name basis. So you're like in this very strange, vulnerable place. You have to be unaware of the camera and all these other things happening and just give it up, right? So I kind of got to give that all to God, you know, because there were so many times in my life where I would be like, why am I going through this? You know what I mean? I'm a good person. I'm dealing with this random stuff, like, you know, just my mom bust her ass my whole life. Me and my sister slept in the house alone many nights. You know what I mean? We done slept with a knife under the pillow and pushed the bed close to the door. And you know what I mean? Just all of these little small things that you're like, why? And then when it's time, that kicks in. You know what I mean? And it's like for instance, my father unalived himself at 15 years old. You know, I never forget, I walked into the kitchen and I'm like, Mom, I kind of don't feel like going to school today. And she was like, you don't have to. I was like, what? Like, I need to do this more often. Exactly. I was like, I need to just be straight about my questions from here on out. You know what I mean? And she was like, yeah, you know your dad, he unalived himself today. And I was like, no, I didn't know that. Like, I guess there was a reason I didn't feel like going to school. I'm going to go back to my room. You know what I mean? But I never cried about it, nothing. It was just, I was so taken back by the moment.
Was you and your father tight?
We was, but him and my mama couldn't get along for nothing. So him and my sister couldn't get along either. And it was like turmoil between them. But me and my dad was always real tight, you know? So like, you know, even letting the tears out for that You know what I mean? And it was crazy. But it's like, you know when you get a whooping when you were small, and then you sleep it off and you wake up and you're like, the problems are gone. I got in trouble. I got the whooping and I just feel
I
better
don't know
now.
nothing about that.
That's exactly how it feels. Like, you know, like you get through it and you realize like that wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. And it ended up being something that's very therapeutic for me. You know, like I now save my tears and my hard moments from days like that.
Because even after Compton, you know, you dealt with a whole lot of allegations and some bunch of bullshit, some foolery.
Yeah.
How were you able to make it through all that? I mean, you had to, of course, we know about the Shy and all what happened with that and all that.
Right,
How were you able to maintain a positive outlook in the face of all this nonsense and these folks seeming like they were trying to end your career?
Right. For me, man, it was like I said, everything was happening so fast, right? After Compton, it was movie after movie after movie after movie. I missed so many birthdays. I missed so many Christmases, so many everything. You know what I mean? I missed one of my daughter's first steps. So, as ironic as it may seem, it was such a blessing for me to be able to just stop and go be a father and be able to take care of home. You know what I'm saying? Small shit, cleaning my own house, cleaning my spirit. You know what I mean? It was just because when all of this stuff is happening, you forget that people love you. You forget that, like, all of that, because all of that don't mean nothing to my kids. You know what I mean? Like, they are not impressed at all with Eazy-E. I remember when I did the MTV Awards, right? And it's not live. It's like, you know. Yeah. So I went and did it, and like at the time, my kids couldn't really process my job, right? So they just called my job getting on the airplane. You know what I mean? And I was like, Daddy gotta go work, and he was like,
Get on the airplane.
you gotta just like go work in New Orleans, or like you gotta get on the airplane. And I'm like, I gotta get on the airplane. And they was all sad. So I come back home. And I'm like, y'all, let's watch this show. I didn't tell them that I was involved in it or nothing. I was like, let's watch this award show. So we come up there and we getting our award, and the girls are looking at me and looking at the TV and looking at me, looking at the TV. They was like, Daddy, so when you get on the airplane, you go inside the TV. I was like, yes, exactly. Yeah. I get it. You know, but before that, they didn't even care because their whole life, they can record themselves on the iPhone and then put themselves on the TV. They're not impressed. They just wanted their dad there. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So like in the face of adversity and all of that, I was just like, you know what? This is giving me the time that I need to become a man for real. You know what I mean? Because the glitz and glamour and the accolades and pats on the back and the awards and all that don't do shit for my kids. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so it gave me the time that I feel like I needed for myself. You know what I mean? And that was just a beautiful thing. So I wouldn't take none of that back. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. It hurt. It was many days I cried. Like, how could these people even believe that I'm this kind of person? You know, I was so embarrassed, and they had so many people who turned their back on me. But, you know, it was times that I laughed, too. I was looking at my Cash App one time, thinking, I'm so glad some of these people walked out of my life, because looking at these Cash Apps.
The Cash App stopped, right? The dings.
So wait.
You know what I mean? There was many times where it was like, you sent too much for the week. I was like, God damn. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so like, yeah, there was so many people who I was taking care of who didn't even want to see me do good. You know, so.
So we kind of talked around it, but what happened? What actually happened?
You tell me. Your guess is as good as mine. And I'm saying that in the best fashion possible, right? Like, ultimately, there was somebody who I didn't get along with on the set, right? She was a showrunner, Ayanna Floyd Davis. She and I didn't get along. I lost a friend, Young Greatness. Right, he was killed. I don't know if y'all know him.
I remember that.
Yeah,
like
but he and I,
15.
him and I's careers mirrored each other.
Yeah.
So I find out that he's dead hours before I have to go to work, right? But I'm like, you know, Brandon couldn't catch a break, so I'm like, I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna just be in tears today. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So she comes to me and she asked me, am I okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not, you know? And I'm walking past Video Village after we do the scene. This is maybe like an hour later. And she was like, you know, I didn't mean to get all in your personal space and ask you about your personal business, but I wanted to just check on you to make sure you don't go home and self-medicate. It's like...
Why would they automatically assume that?
Right, exactly. Like, what? Like, why would you say that in front of all of these people?
Yeah, 'cause I was about to say, well,
You know
what
what I
were
mean?
you taking?
Like, my friend just was murdered.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and this is what you say in front of all of these people. So I had one of those moments where I like froze because I almost had a nigga moment.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I froze. I was
Yeah.
like, bet. So I called Lena, and Lena's like, you did the right thing by calling me. You know, I'll take care of it. So I guess Lena went to HR, right? So I see Ayana like the next week, and from afar, she does it again. You could have told me, you know, something. We could have talked about it before you went to HR.
In front of everybody.
So now I'm a rat too?
Right.
Bet. All right, step into my office since you
Yeah.
want to talk about it, right? So I'm not going to lie. I was a bit irate because I was pissed because now you acting like you know me. You're talking to me a little crazy. You know what I mean? So we exchanged words. And they have a no retaliation process in when you deal with an HR situation. So because of that, she was fired, right? And she took it upon herself to ultimately end up going to Deadline and making up a story. You know what I mean? And it was messed up because it's always the people who are like, oh, I want my young black brothers to succeed and all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, if I'm going to keep it real, just 100% honest, I cannot put all the blame on Ayana and say, hey, that was just the situation, right? Had I been buttoned up all through everything, you know, no mishaps, you know, no fun club nights, just staying low and firing, they wouldn't have been able to say Jason Mitchell is this type of person because they don't know who I am for real. You know what I mean? But I think that it's important for me to hold myself accountable. Like today, I don't drink. I be chilling. You ain't gonna see me out. You ain't gonna see me chilling. You know what I mean? Because I couldn't understand the concept that I was at work even when I was off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the first time you meet somebody, you might have had 6 drinks because y'all celebrating, but from the other side of the room, you look like an alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? So even if you're not dealing with substance abuse, and you still have to be cognizant that you are a leader of the community. And I didn't look at myself like a leader. I just looked at myself like I got lucky and I could finally take care of my kids and do something I love to do. But I'm important to my community, and I'm robbing my community if I don't do the best job that I can do and I don't be the best me. So I don't blame anybody. If anything, I hold myself accountable for all of that. That's why I wouldn't take it back, because I feel like I got to touch fire without being burned. You know what I mean? It wasn't no lawsuits. It wasn't no police involved. It wasn't no females popping out the woodworks and he did this. Like, it was none of that. You know what I mean? Like, it was a blessing to be able to have that happen to me and me get all those lessons and the Shy not fall apart. Like, look at all of these beautiful careers that blossom from that. Like, you know, it's still a blessing in disguise. So, you know, I wouldn't take it back. As hurtful as it was, it's not the same as what a lot of these guys went through.
And it was already written. Like, you know, you were supposed to be there for that amount of time. You did your thing. You touched people. You helped blossom careers. You moved on. Now you're doing your own thing, producing. And now, you know, we sitting here because you got the Black Heath dropping.
You did.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the movie that, you know, is going to take you to another level. So everything is I'm a true believer in divine intervention. Like,
Same.
Like, literally.
But you know, we have a problem with transitioning from being a real one to this fame.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was my thing, right? Like for instance, I had a situation with Delta, right? That kind of went viral.
Let's look at the video.
Please don't do that. Don't do it. But I had a $9,000 ticket, and they tried to treat me like a nigga, and I wasn't going.
Yeah.
Don't play with me.
Where were you flying to? Where were you flying from, and what was the destination?
I was leaving Vegas. I was leaving the fight, Floyd's last fight. I was leaving the fight, and I was supposed to be headed back to Chicago to finish
Vegas to
shooting.
Chicago is $9,000 one way. You was on a private?
You ever been in first class leaving Vegas after the fight?
Oh, well, I ain't never been to the fight.
Fight night, yeah.
I ain't been to one of them fights.
This is the richest people in the world meet up right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You in there with everybody and Frank Lucas. Like, it's happening. So, and I bought my ticket the night before, too, because Showtime actually surprised me with the tickets. So it was last minute as well.
Yeah.
But, I was hot behind that bread because I just told my people, like, go ahead and book it.
Yeah.
And I seen that account, it was like 9 bands. God damn. Like, who I'm sitting with. You know what I mean? But yeah, like, it wasn't one of my better days. You know what I mean? I really wish I would have reacted differently. But
Y'all have winked out on $100 Spirit tickets. Stop.
Wait a
but
minute.
I'm saying, let's keep it real. My mom also called me that day and was like, son, I'm proud of you. You know what I mean? Because I'm not about to let nobody just walk on me.
What
just
you
sit
do?
down, huh?
I want to know the steps. What happened?
Why
Give me
you
the
so
deets.
messy?
I just want to
Why?
know. We here.
It was a bad day. That's what happened. We
got video. Go
Why
watch
you
the
want to
video.
relive my trauma? Let's talk about your worst day.
Man.
Well,
Let's talk about it.
That might have been yesterday because I was about to shoot somebody. You want to know for real?
Yeah, he wants to
Let's
start.
get into the details. Let's talk about it.
Jason Mitchell's Break Room Podcast. Yes, sir.
Let's talk about your worst day.
I had to pull the 9 out, and then I had to call Jay to talk me off the bridge from shooting the
because I
Mexicans
had to call and
upstairs.
talk off that ledge.
Wow.
We're not going to prison on this Good Wednesday.
Right?
We're not going to prison on this Good Wednesday.
Okay, but I do have a question. We
Yeah.
talked about this earlier. You said you had kids.
Yeah.
You had 2 daughters.
Yes.
Okay, and you and the mom, are y'all married? You
No. We're not married, but we cool, though. We
okay?
cool.
Well, y'all cool. So good. I can ask this question. So, would you say, like, would you go to the mom and be like, "Hey, I'm just gonna give you 18 years of child support right now"?
No, I think that's foolish. I think that when it comes to child support, right? Like the way it is set up, like it's set up for everybody to lose. For me to lose, for my baby mama to lose. It just doesn't work like that, I don't think. I think in being a man, you have to get over the fact that like she's gonna have somebody else, you gonna have somebody else. And I think a lot of times that's where like the turmoil comes from because I feel like she's a direct reflection of me. I didn't make a mistake with 2 kids. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, I'm like, yo, I want her to drive a better car than me. I want her to have a better house than me. I want my kids to be immaculate every time somebody sees them because that's a direct reflection of me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So 18 years of child support, I feel like it shouldn't even have to get that bad. Like, she don't have to beg me for money at all. You know what I mean? Now that my kids are old enough for me to just send them bread, sometimes she be like, you need to send me something too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, when I never had a problem providing. I think that's crazy that people go through all that with their kids and you know what I mean? But I think a lot of people aren't educated on the fact that like, if you are getting help or any type of support from the state, they want their money back. So they might take 6, 7, 8,000 a month, but that ain't coming to you. You might mess around and get 37 cents from the state because they going back to childbirth. You know what I mean?
Right.
Remember when you had the baby and you couldn't pay for the bet? Remember, the anesthesia? And we going back to all of that.
That's true.
You owe me about $90,000 for childbirth. You know what I mean? So I just think putting them people in your business and all of that is like it's immature and it doesn't work out for anybody. You know what I mean? So why you ask that though?
Because we talked about it earlier.
We talked about Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards, the story with him.
The rumor that Anthony Edwards, he's got 4 baby mamas in the last 2 years.
Oh.
And the rumor is floating around that he's trying to pay 18 years of child support up front.
Because he don't want to deal with the baby mama.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But
This
she
is
came
all
out and said
rumor.
that wasn't true.
This is all rumor.
Hi, kids. Wear condoms. Like, what is happening? What is happening? He way too freaky to not want to deal with his issues. Like, what is going on?
He busy.
Sir.
He's busy. He's busy. He's had some good years.
He's busy.
Y'all you getting busy.
Getting busy. I heard that.
Before we let you go, my brother, I got a game I like to play.
Okay.
With I guess it's called "What Are You Searching For?"
Okay.
All right. You know when you go on Google and you type in somebody's name,
Yeah.
Google tries to predict the next 4 things that you're searching for about that person. Google's trying to predict it. These predictions are usually the things that people want to know about you the most and are Googling about you the most.
Right.
You want to guess what your top 4 is?
Why did I leave the Shy?
No. Well, the Shy is on there. I'll say that. The Shy is on there, but they're not asking why you left. They just want to know the Shy.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
But that's one.
What am I doing now?
Nope.
My height?
Nope.
Damn. My net worth?
That is correct. Net worth.
What'd you say?
They want to know net
The
worth.
net
They
worth.
want to know how much
Oh,
money you got.
network, man.
No, because that's what the females be like, girl, I like him. How much money he made? How tall is he?
Net worth is on that list. That's
Again,
true.
ladies, it's a net worth. It's a net worth.
They be
It's
thinking
not
that's how
that
much I got
much
in my
money in
account
the
today.
bank.
Not only they messed up with net
Worth.
worth, they think that's how much I got in my account today.
Yeah.
Now, I
Right.
ain't got that in my account today.
So let's be clear, the money is gone.
The way my checking and my savings set up.
Right.
And he got 2 girls and a baby mama. So I
2 more. Give me 2 more. 2 more guesses. You got net worth. You got the Shy.
Am I married?
That is correct. Wife. They want to know if you got a wife. Can't answer that or we're
think
going to decline.
about it.
Oh, I'm not
He
married.
said that already.
I'm not married. I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
I
not
was
married.
like,
Okay,
what
okay,
happened?
that's right. That's right.
Thinking
All
about
right, one more. You got 3 out of the 4.
Think like a woman, Jason. Let's think. What would they want to know?
What these women want to know about you?
I don't know. Maybe what I'm doing next?
You said that already.
You said that
Did I
already.
say that already? All right, so give me one more. Give me one more.
Let me guess.
Where am I from?
You want to guess?
Does he? What's his background looking like? A criminal record.
Not really. I want to say allegations is 4th on the list.
Ah, okay. So it is kind of like what happened with the Shy.
Right.
Ah,
right.
okay. Yeah.
Allegations.
They
So
want to know. Like, somebody
network-
tell me the real story. I feel like everybody wanted to be more juicy than it is, and it's not. I think bottom line is, as a community, we just need to take better care of each other. Because if somebody felt like I could have been doing something better, they could have talked about it instead of trying to cost both of us our job. That's just the real.
We
You
end
know
up
what I mean?
sinking our own battleship.
Yeah, and I also think, playing the race card is play the fuck out. That's as simple as I could put it. Don't meet me the first day and go, we brothers. No, we're not. No, we're not. You know what I mean? You don't know me at all.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with getting to know me and not knowing a person on the first day you meet them. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? But we ain't got to front for each other and do all of that because I don't want to live in a world with just niggas. You know what I mean? I don't.
Man.
I want my food to show up on time. You know what I mean? I need organization in my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? I need the Asians to keep making all these chips and shit and keep updating my phone.
Yes, sir.
You know? I'm joking, but I'm being serious though. Like, I think that we got to do a better job of taking care of each other. You know what I mean? Because you don't know what you don't know. You know what I mean? And I'm so coachable, and I think a lot of us are, but we just have this preconceived notion like, oh, he thinks he's all that because he's an actor and he's #1 on the call sheet. He ain't gonna listen to nothing I have to say. Like, what? Like, I've worked with directors that are like that. Like, Jason not gonna listen to me. Like, why? Nigga, you're the director. I would love to hear your opinion on what we're supposed to be doing in the movie. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just think that it's not that hard to show love. You know what I mean? If you lead with love and you lead with kindness and you really do have good intentions behind what you do, the words are minor. You know what I mean? But sometimes even if it's harsh, like, we need to hear that. Imagine if somebody would have pulled me to the side and had what we may consider a harsh conversation. All of this could have been avoided.
Right.
You know what I mean? But That's neither here nor there. I
Yeah,
hope
'cause we
people
on
look
Black
at
Heat now.
exactly. Oh yes, and yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's big for me because it's the first thing that I've ever been on I've ever produced that's made it to the theaters. You know what I mean? So to see my name up there on that silver screen as a producer, like
It's a
That's
blessing.
still big at this point with everything being on Netflix or these other streaming platforms.
yeah, I'm a
It's still
movie
big.
lover. Like it's supposed to go to the theaters. I would love people to be able to experience, what we make as filmmakers the way that we want you to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You could be watching Netflix on your phone, looking around at work, like, nah, that ain't how I want you to watch it. You know what I mean?
You want a theater
Go
experience.
to the theater
So would you come
the
back
base could
if we put together a screening for your movie? Would you come back?
here in Dallas?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
To Oak Cliff. No, I'm just playing.
Absolutely.
We don't
Nah,
have no movie
I'm
theaters.
we don't
living
have
like
no
that.
We don't have
Oh,
no movie theaters in Oak Cliff.
Really? Oh, we might
No,
have
we
to
don't
fix
have a
that
movie
shit
theater
too.
in Oak
Ain't
Cliff.
that
No,
nothing?
Used to them.
They closed all of them.
Oh,
The
okay.
UAs are gone. The Cinemarks are gone. Unless they decide to put one in Redbird Mall since they rebuilding. it.
Yeah,
No, we don't have
I'd
one.
love
find
to
one.
do a screening here though. I'm gonna probably do one in New Orleans too.
Okay, so you come back if we put the screening together.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I'm
we're
there
gonna
for that.
put Media Room is gonna put the screening together.
Really?
Man.
Hey, there you have
We're
it.
gonna put the
Thank
screening
you
together.
so much. Thank
Jay
you
Black, I'm gonna
so
be calling
much.
you. I need you to hook this up for me. But yeah, we put it together for you.
Thank you.
Hey, how do people follow you?
Oh, Jason Mitchell actor. I'm really only on Instagram for real.
Yeah.
The rest of the stuff ain't really me. Twitter, since it turned to X, I'm not really sure what's happening. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
Yeah, for real.
But you be answering your stuff
I
though?
do. I'm very active.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
so approachable.
I'm
like-
gonna DM you and see, but I'm not gonna DM it from mine. Okay, I'm gonna set up another one.
It's gonna put you to the test.
See, she gonna say something crazy. She gonna be like, I know you don't have a wife, and I know your net worth ain't what you say it is, but nah.
What you got coming up after this though? You working on some more stuff?
Yes, I actually got 2 more movies in the can. Mercy, Mercy Me and Lil Mama. That's gonna be fire.
Little mama.
Okay, little mama.
Yes,
Dope.
she cold too.
That's dope.
And I have another movie called Late Night Creep, which is really dope too. It's a comedy, and it's like it's a lane that I've really been trying to jump in for a long time because I feel like since everybody seen the easy shit, now they want me to just die and cry and everything. I'm like, oh, I really like the smile. You know what I mean? I'm a laugher, guys. So.
Right.
You know, I'm trying to dive into comedy real heavy, man. If I could mock anybody's career, it'd probably be like Adam Sandler, which is the craziest thing in the world. But he like make movies with his friends that are timeless and
That's right.
and they feel good movies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I be making movies that be hard to watch. People be like, "Can we watch Mudbound together?" No, we can't.
Well, man, we appreciate you getting on this couch, hanging out with us, man.
Thank you for
You know,
having me.
the couch is always open when you come to the city.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Mitchell, one time.
Yes, sir.